It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Georgetown assistant women's soccer coach, Naomi Meiburger. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get involved in college coaching?
Oh gosh, college coaching. I knew from a young age that I wanted to coach. I'm not sure why. I just knew in my mind I was interested in it. And in college, I started doing some sessions with some local clubs around George Mason when I was there. I would coach some of the younger kids. And I think I just always enjoyed helping people achieve their goals. And I got a lot of enjoyment and I think just fulfillment out of seeing other people do the things that they love to do. And I knew I always wanted to coach. And then as far as college coaching, I think it just came down to an opportunity that I was given by Diane Drake when she was the head coach at Georgetown here many years ago. She called me up when I finished playing and asked if I wanted to be her volunteer. And at the time I was actually preparing to teach. I thought I might go in and be a teacher and then try and coach at the high school level or even club. And so I took that opportunity and she said, just come in and see if you like it. And I did. I really enjoyed it. Had a great experience. Got to work with both Diane and Dave, who is now the head coach here. At the time was the assistant. So in a lot of ways, I guess it was just an opportunity, taking advantage of what was given to me and making the most of it. So, and I've just kind of been in it ever since.
What was your playing career like at George Mason?
My playing career at Mason, gosh, that's like going back many, many years. I had a great experience there as far as playing. I played for a coach who's now retired named Jack Sakala, who was a Region 1 coach here out on the East Coast. And my assistant was Kim Cammerdiner, who's a former national team player, won a national championship at Mason in 1985, and then also won the first Women's World Cup in 1991. And having the opportunity to be around her, she was a great role model for me because she was also a mom. She had, at the time, I believe she had three kids and was pregnant with another and continued to coach through all of that. And I had the opportunity to see her balance, I guess, family life and being a really high level elite coach. And that gave me, I think, a lot of inspiration that could be done. And then as far as playing, having the opportunity to play for her, I never wanted to disappoint her or let her down. And I think that drove me to want to be better, in addition to just an intrinsic drive to compete. I got a great education there. I finished with a degree in English and got a chance to play 3 out of my 4 years, which I think is great for a goalkeeper, and finished up conference player of the year for the goalkeeper of the year, as well as a regional All-American. And I think a lot of that was due to the team I had around me. I had a great defense in front of me. So I was able to get some stats in my senior year that, we had a lot of shutouts and a lot of minutes unscored upon. So that definitely helped with some recognition at the end of my career.
What was it like coming out of college and obviously getting a job with Louisville?
I think that might be misinformation. I don't know. Maybe I don't understand the question.
What was it like getting your first head coaching job?
Oh, at Loyola. So I was at Georgetown for 11 years prior to that. So I had the opportunity to be an assistant and then an associate head coach here. And Dave and I really, at that time, had the opportunity to build the program here from being probably one of the bottom half teams in the Big East to moving up and being one of the top half teams in the Big East. So for me, that was a really unique experience and a learning experience of how to build a program and build a culture. So taking that into Loyola, I knew that was something I knew how to do. And I knew that if I had the right support in place, that we would be able to move that program forward, which we did. I was able to bring in a great staff around me, Jim McGurr, who was a previous head coach at Providence, and Stephen McKenna, who's now an assistant at NC State. And we were able those first couple of years to really move the needle and push the program forward, which was, a really cool experience for me. And a great experience. Just, I had great players there. My staff was great. I really enjoyed the school and the environment at the time. And it was an awesome opportunity for me to kind of take things and make it my own for, I think I was there 4.5 years.
What were some of your accomplishments as head coach at Loyola?
So when I took over the program, they had just moved into the Patriot League. So that was a big move for them as far as a conference. They had previously been in the MAC and had kind of been the top team in the MAC because them and Fairfield had a lot of the resources as far as scholarships and opportunities for athletes. And then moving into the Patriot League, the playing field really leveled as far as all the other teams in that conference kind of had the same resources as far as support and scholarships and opportunities for athletes. So it was a new challenge for that program in the school. And so my first year there, we made the conference tournament, which was the first time they've ever made the tournament. My second year, we went to the conference semifinal and lost the eventual champions, Boston. And then my third year, we had our first top 100 win over Monmouth at the time. So that was the program's the first time they had beaten anybody that was an RPI top 100 team, which was a pretty significant result. I think Monmouth at the time might have been in the 50s. So I think, and then as well, I had conference player of the year, the offensive player of the year, Rosie Hayes, so we got a lot of individual awards. We had quite a number of players on all conference teams. One of the players that I brought in and coached for a few years ended up also being midfielder of the year in that conference, which was an award that I was able to help push forward in that conference. The Patriot League didn't used to have midfielder of the year. And when I came into the conference and we were talking with the coaches, it was something we had in the Big East. And I said, hey, a lot of midfielders, they're not going to win defensive player of the year. They may not win offensive player of the year, but they're really important in regards to, the midfield kind of connects your whole team. And so we all agreed, hey, this is a great award for us to add to kind of the repertoire of awards they have postseason. And so one of the players that transferred in for us, Hannah Hafes, ended up winning that award. I think it was actually after I left, but her senior year, which was kind of exciting for me to see her win that award, an award that, I had kind of pushed forward into the conference. So I think, and as far as, obviously academically, our students did great when I was there, which is the number one thing that you want your students to graduate, to go on, to be productive members of society, to get jobs. And I think building the relationships there, I think that's what coaching is all about, is having the opportunity to help players achieve their goals and their dreams and their aspirations. And seeing those players be able to do that was a great joy for me.
What was it like whenever you got to return back to your alma mater to join the coaching staff?
Yeah, coming back to Georgetown was exciting. I actually had left coaching for a period of time. I had my two kids really quick, very close together, and they're 18 months apart. They're now 3 and 5. But at the time they were 6 months and 2. And so I left coaching for a period of time to be home with them. And honestly, a lot of it was just taking some of the pressure off our family. It was just a lot being a head coach and having young kids. And so I was home for a period of time, came back as a volunteer. I came back like 2 days a week I think it was 2019, I came back. And that was perfect because I still was getting my competitive outlet and coaching. At the same time, I was able to be more flexible with my family and be home, which was really important for me. And then I guess in 2021, in January, a full-time position opened here. And at that time, I talked with my husband about it, and it seemed like the right opportunity and the right time for me to get back in full-time. And, working with Dave, it was very easy for me to step back into. He's very easy to work with, very flexible. He's a great coach too, so I'm still always learning. And he's given me a great opportunity to come back and, continue to pursue my passion, which is helping players achieve their goals and to move on, whether it's in soccer or in life, academics, getting jobs, it's been a great joy for me to be back.
Of course, what is it like, obviously, going to the NCAA Final Four appearances?
Yeah, so I was actually not here when they went in 2016 and 2018. I was in 2016, I was still at Loyola, and then 2018, I had just finished up there. But I did go down to the event and was able to watch them in the Final Four. And I know it was a really exciting time for the program, very exciting for our alumni. I spent a good deal of time with the alumni when I was down there in 2018. And for me, that was really cool because a lot of those alumni I had coached, and, we had been a part of the program when we were in some lean years where we were still trying to build the program. And so for them and for the alumni base and the staff and everybody who had been around from the beginning, it was just very exciting to see how far the program has come and the success that the players have had and Dave has had in the program. And you really feel a part of that success when you had been there, early on and helped build the culture. And it's continued to grow. I mean, when I came back, honestly, it wasn't the same job. I mean, it's different, because it's been elevated. The program has been elevated from where I had left off in 2014. So when I came back in 2019, the program is in a different place, and there's different expectations and there's higher expectations, and that's good. That's a good thing. That's what you need to keep the program thriving.
Who are some teams that you compete against each game day?
Some teams, I'm sorry, could you ask the question again?
Who are some teams that you are in your conference?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the Big East, we have 11 teams in our conference now. We just added UConn last season. So the 2020 spring season, UConn started in with us. So in our conference, we play against Seton Hall, St. John's, Xavier, Butler, Creighton, DePaul, Marquette, Villanova, UConn, us. I feel like I'm leaving out one. Probably leaving out one. But so our conference this year, Providence, sorry. Our conference this year got 5 teams into the NCAA tournament. So we earned the automatic bid by winning the tournament. And then we got 4 more teams in for at-large bids, which was great. When you think about almost half of our conference getting into the NCAA tournament, I think that really speaks to the strength of the Big East as far as a soccer conference and a women's soccer conference. The men's side got in quite a few teams as well and did really well in their tournament too. So I think that was really exciting for us as a conference to be able to get those number of teams in.
What is it like, obviously, getting to play as Xavier and Providence, and then obviously this coming up year, get to play UConn as they join?
Yeah, I mean, those teams have been really tough teams to play against. I think Providence for a long time has been a really good program. Really going back, 8-9 years ago when Jim McGurr had the team, and then Sam took over and continued to do really well there. And he's brought in great players, and he's a good coach and always tough to play against. Xavier's a good program too. They were, I believe they were in the top 10 most of the year. And they lost, I want to say 2-3, they lost only 3 games this year, once to us, once to St. John's. And then they lost in the NCAA tournament. And I think it was against, might have been Milwaukee. But So they're great teams. I mean, they challenge us to be better. They challenge us to be at our top level. And then, UConn was the only game that we lost this year, the only game we've lost in 2 years, actually. And they're tough, they're athletic, they're good up front. They've got some good forwards. Mags does a good job there. And I think for us, we're always trying to make sure that we're at the top of our game so that we can compete and continue to win and push the conference forward and push our program forward.
Of course, what does the recruitment process look like for prospective student athletes looking to play college women's soccer?
Yeah, I mean, the landscape, COVID changed so much of things. So I think we're all still kind of, we're all still trying to navigate what that's going to look like. There were obviously this year, with everyone getting an extra year because of the COVID season, you had teams that all of a sudden had fifth years coming back that maybe weren't expected when you looked at the long-term recruiting process. And then, you also had players transferring for their COVID year, for their fifth year. So you see a lot of movement right now within the college ranks as far as players leaving or staying. And that obviously then affects the players that you're going to be bringing in, because then now you're thinking, oh, well, I don't need a center back now, where maybe 6 months ago you thought I need a center back. As far as prospective student athletes, it's the same as far as the process in regards to going out and watching players play and doing your homework and calling club coaches and making sure you're bringing in the right culture players, in addition to good soccer players. And I think that has been one of the most important pieces for us as far as recruiting, is making sure that we bring in the right players that are going to fit the culture here. We're looking for players that want to come in and help us win a championship, and help us compete at the national level, not just a Big East championship, but a national championship. That's our goal. So, when you're thinking about players, they have to be good soccer players, but they also have to be players that want to get better, that want to improve, and that have aspirations beyond just playing in college. Aspirations to be on the national team, aspirations to play professionally, and those are kind of the players that we look for. As far as the recruiting process, it's like a business that we're trying to sell ourselves. They're trying to sell themselves, and you're trying to get the right fit. They're trying to get the right fit of the school, academically, athletically, and socially. As well, we're trying to find the right players that academically, athletically, culturally fit what we're looking for. So.
Of course, what is it like whenever prospective student athletes come on that official visit to Georgetown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of funny the way the rules are now. I suppose you can bring in players on an official visit. I think it's starting in their junior year now. That rule changed recently. To be quite honest with you, I'm still getting a grasp and handle on all of that, because I just started back full time in January. And then, the COVID year, they're just like, we weren't even doing campus visits. But usually when players come in, we'll meet with them as a staff. They'll meet with the coaches. They'll tour our facilities. We're very fortunate to have great facilities here. We have a wonderful grass field. We have a great locker room, great setup in the weight room. We'll make sure that they meet our strength coach, our nutritionist, all of our assistant coaches. Our head coach will spend a lot of time with the recruit and their family. But then what's really important for us is that they meet our players and spend a lot of time with our team. And make sure that it's the right fit, with the team on both sides of it. It's kind of like an interview almost, where they're coming in and they're interviewing us and seeing, is Georgetown a place that I'm interested in? And then, as well, we're kind of interviewing them and making sure that they're the type of player we want to bring in. On the academic side, they'll meet with our academic advisor and, possibly an admission officer, if we feel that that's important, maybe sit in on a class, those kinds of things are important. And a lot of times, honestly, Brandon, it takes a couple visits, for a player to really feel comfortable and commit. It may take 2 visits. If they're close, they can obviously come in, not for 2 official visits, but, they could come in unofficially a couple times and then do an official visit at whatever point they're ready.
Of course, as an alumni of the school, what is it like obviously seeing those players come in and obviously be like, okay, is your school the best fit for me? and obviously seeing the players live on their dreams of like how you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think, I got my master's here. I finished up in 2014. We had a great program in sports business here. And so, I was fortunate to have the opportunity to do that while I was working here. But I think, Georgetown is a unique place in that, there's just a lot of pride around being an alumnus. And I'm sure there is with like other schools as well, but there's just something special and unique about Georgetown that I feel having been here and having gotten my master's degree here as well, where it just sort of feels like home, and it just feels like a place where you want to, you want people to thrive, and that they're going to have a good experience. It's very rare that we have players who don't have a good experience. We don't usually have players transfer out. If players are maybe not happy with the soccer side of things, which happens, they may say, I want to play a little bit more, or they may just say, I don't love it that much anymore. They don't transfer out and go somewhere else. They stay and they go to school here because it's a really good experience. We're in DC. We're in a great location. It's a good school. It's, they have a good experience. So I think there's obviously a lot of pride that comes from going to school here and being a Hoya and graduating from here. And for me, it's like home. Like when I came back, it just felt like home. It just felt like this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is what I'm passionate about.
What advice would you give high school soccer players looking to play college soccer?
Set yourself apart. Number one, academically, you have to set yourself apart academically as far as achieving the highest grades that you can and taking the most difficult classes that are within your ability. Number two, on the soccer side of things, you have to set yourself apart. So when a coach comes to watch you play, what is one thing that you do better than anybody else on the field that's going to make you stand out? So it might be athleticism. It might be you're an excellent passer of the ball and you set up your teammates. It might be you're a goal scorer. It might be you're the best player in the air heading the ball. And I'll give you an example. We had a player here, Sydney Cummings, who's getting ready to graduate. And in the college game, she is the best header of the ball, the best. I mean, in the box, she scored against Santa Clara. She scored a game winner against St. John's in the Big East final. I mean, she's just unbelievable in the air. She's going to be a pro for sure. The other thing that could set you apart is being versatile. We have another center back getting ready to graduate, going into the draft on Friday, Kellyanne Livingstone. She can play center back. She can play left back. She has a good left foot. She can play, a longer ball. She's also equally good in the air. She's tough. She scored some great goals for us this year as well as last year. So I think it's just, you have to set yourself apart somehow. Another player that I would talk about would be Megan Nally, who plays for the Portland Thorns right now. And for her, like the best players we have had here, would think about like that I've coached, Megan Nally, Ingrid Wells, Daphne Corbose, they were also the hardest workers. So they worked harder than anybody else. We had to actually pull them off the field at times because it was too much. We have a player like that now, Julia Lease, who we sometimes have to tell her to stop training because she's going to her body's going to break down. But that's how you become the best at what you do.
What advice would you give those college soccer players that are looking to play college soccer and then go on to obviously the NWSL?
Yeah, I mean, that's, the NWSL is obviously a unique league to get into. There's a lot of other leagues around the world that are also really good. The Bundesliga in Germany is very good. The Premier League for women in England now has started to put more resources into those teams. Daphne, one of our former players, is playing in France right now, as well as her sister Rachel, which is a good level. We have a former player, Kyra Carusa, who's playing in Denmark, and her team is in the Champions League over there. So there's a lot of different places you can play. I think number one, I would say being open to both the NWSL and leagues overseas, because I think there's a lot of opportunities at really good levels. But I think if you want to play professionally, you have to be the best at what you're doing. You know, like I talked about, Sydney's the best in the air. So if a team needs a center back that's good in the air, they're going to pick up Sydney because she's the best. I don't think there's anybody better. You know, you have to be the best at what you do. And then you have to have belief in yourself that you can do it. And then someone else has to take a chance on you and believe in you to do it as well. But I think you just have to be the hardest worker, and you have to do the very best that you can every single day and strive to be better. But you have to have something that stands out. There has to be something. If you're just a right back that gets forward, that's a dime a dozen. There's a lot of right backs in the country that can get forward. So there has to be something unique about what you're doing that is going to make you stand out.
What advice would you give future college soccer coaches looking to get into the industry?
I think number one, you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. And then you have to take some chances to try, you know, to get your foot in the door, whether it's being a volunteer or, you know, moving across the country for a job. You have to be a little bit flexible with that first opportunity to get your foot in the door. And then once you do, I think you've got to always continue to push the envelope with bettering yourself. So whether it's getting licenses or getting extra training, coaching youth teams, I think there's a lot to the college game and coaching that takes just a lot of time to learn. But I think if you can get one opportunity and take advantage of that opportunity, you can have a really good career in coaching. But you just have to get that first opportunity and really then set yourself apart with your work ethic and your abilities, and make yourself, you know, the most irreplaceable person on staff.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Georgetown soccer program at?
I think that's a great question. We have an awesome social media person. That is not me. That handles most of that for us. Hoya's WSOC, I believe, is our handle. And then I'm at my Twitter's Meiburger, just my last name, at Meiburger. I think that's the best way to follow us.
Thank you again, Coach Meiburger, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with Georgetown.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Have a great day.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Meiburger, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.